Unlike the Slingshot Flow Craft V1, the Model 2 is now a crossover board and no longer a compact freestyle board. The board's design here appears extremely modern. Recently we've tested several of the new crossover boards. So these are the boards whose dimensions fall between a compact board and a mid-length board. All of these boards are also a bit narrower. Accordingly, at 65 liters and 21 centimeter, this is clearly something for lighter riders because it does get a bit tippy. Anyone who can confidently start on their compact board in the right size will have no trouble with the Flowcraft V2 after 1 or 2 tries. Compared to other competitors, the Flowcraft V2 gets up on foil extremely early, thanks to its very long, straight, flat rocker line and the consistently wide bevels that extend all the way to the back. The board releases from the water surface incredibly easily and transitions to forward speed really quickly. We tested the Flowcraft V2 with foils ranging from 700, 800 and 950 square centimeter. Thanks to the really long tracks, it was absolutely no problem to find a neutral trim for the board with these foils. Once airborne, it immediately becomes apparent that you have an exceptionally, truly phenomenally good feel for the particular wing beneath the board. This, just like with the previously tested Superfly, is due to the complete parallelism between the deck line and the hull, as well as the very slight concave shape across the entire deck, from edge to edge and also from the back foot to the front foot. Combined with the dimensions and the really wide bevels, this board allows for very steep edging angles when rolling, and controlling both pitch and yaw requires incredibly little effort. So steering here is truly easy and playful. The good feeling is enhanced by the full EVA deck, which provides good slip resistance whether you're barefoot or wearing various types of shoes, but not so much that it becomes too grippy. In addition, there are 3 different positions for mounting the foot straps, allowing for a wide range of stances, so every rider can definitely find a very comfortable position on the board. The volume distribution is very even throughout the board, with only the nose being slightly more voluminous, just minimally, so that when riding in displacement mode, the nose doesn't dip underwater so easily. And let's take another look at the hull, especially when you're flying the foil a bit low, have a tiny touchdown, or just barely touch the water surface with the rails. Even if only for a brief moment, the angle of these bevels is cleverly designed so that your speed isn't reduced, but instead the board always maintains its full glide. And here, especially compared to the previously tested models from Indiana, the Superfly or the Roberto Ricci Beluga ML, you can see a slight advantage, because the Flowcraft V2 glides just a tiny bit better in this area, so to speak. The more pronounced bevels also ensure that the rails are very thin in height due to the shape, which means the surface area exposed to side winds on this board is in fact extremely small. When it comes to jumping, the Slingshot Flowcraft V2 also proves to be extremely capable. But at this point, we need to briefly go back to the Flowcraft V1. That was a different shape, meaning it was much more freestyle oriented, with a very nice takeoff, excellent landings, and quick rotations. But for the new dimensions of the Flowcraft V2, the performance here is really very good. The board is lightweight, and a crucial factor is, of course, the thickness of the board, as well as the shape of the bevels, which allows me to create a very steep edge angle for takeoff without any risk of catching an edge. One drawback, compared to pure freestyle boards, is, of course, the balance upon landing. because the narrower board width combined with the length makes it more difficult to catch yourself when landing, especially during spinning tricks. But if you're a bit more ambitious here, you can easily compensate for that. As with the other crossover models we tested earlier, the Flowcraft V2 also places a strong emphasis on wave performance. This is reflected in a higher proportion of the board's characteristics being dedicated to this aspect. Due to the fact that we have a high forward speed, we can use small, agile wings very quickly here, especially when riding close to the face of the wave, allowing for tighter, more aggressive turns. The angle in the roll is always sufficient to avoid getting caught on the wave. And the nose rocker is also pronounced enough to prevent any unwanted nose dives. The rest is simply a very pleasant, intuitive and playful feeling with the Flowcraft V2. As mentioned at the beginning, that little force is needed, this is a key point. The board can be moved from rail to rail very easily, of course always assuming you have the right foil, but looking at the board itself, there is absolutely no hindrance. It's nice to see that the board lineup at Slingshot overall appears much fresher now. The Flowcraft V2 is one of the first boards to be newly introduced in the board lineup here. It is a state-of-the-art crossover board which in our opinion represents the new generation of optimal all-round boards. Of course, pure freestyle riders will be interested in other models, but as mentioned, it's definitely possible with the Flowcraft V2 as well. And clearly the board's real strengths are in wave riding. You get going incredibly early, and you can ride small foils very early on, because the lift or the quick forward speed is no different from mid-length boards that are significantly longer in the same volume class. These boards take off smoothly, and even riders who want to get planing passively are very well served. The only hurdle, of course, is a bit more instability when getting on and starting, due to the narrower board width. That's just the nature of things. In other words, you always have to swallow some kind of pill. Accordingly, we recommend the Flowcraft V2 model for the ambitious freerider, the wave enthusiast, and of course for anyone who wants to do it all, but also wants to get going as early as possible. For the board we tested, in the 65 liter size, we recommend an optimal body weight range of 55 to 75 kilos. This ensures that everything we identified in our test is optimally covered. The available sizes range from 45 to 95 liters in 10 liter increments, with a retail price well below 2,000 euros. We really like this board very much.